The air was heavy with heat that day in northern Burkina Faso. A scorching wind swept across the vast, dry plains, but there was something else in the atmosphere, something tense, electric. At a remote site, far from official roads and satellite surveillance, a group of Burkinabe engineers and Russian geologists stood huddled around a deep drilling rig. They had been working in total silence for weeks, under strict confidentiality. But that morning, something shifted. A tremor in the ground. A strange smell. Then a shout. Oil. Not a trickle. Not a smear. A massive underground reserve, rich, pure, untouched. A sleeping giant beneath African soil, finally awakened. A message was sent. In Ouagadougou, at the presidential compound, Captain Ibrahim Traoré read it. No emotion crossed his face. Without a word, he boarded a military helicopter and flew straight to the site. When he landed in a storm of dust and disbelief, no one knew what to expect. The captain stepped out. He walked through the silent crowd. He looked at the drill. He listened to the engineers. Then, suddenly, he raised his head, clenched his fist, and shouted, loud enough to echo across the desert, "America will never touch a single drop of this oil." Silence. Then murmurs. Then cameras. Within 2 hours, the moment went viral. A grainy video, a lone voice, and one furious sentence. But it wasn't just a burst of anger, it was a declaration of defiance. A shot fired in a silent war. That voice carried far beyond the Sahel. It reached every boardroom, embassy, and war room in the Western world. The words were simple, but the meaning was explosive. This wasn't just oil. This was sovereignty. And Traoré wasn't just protecting a resource, he was drawing a line in the sand. Soon after, Washington responded quietly, behind closed doors. Calls were made. Friendly messages were sent, reminding Burkina Faso of strategic partnerships. Offers came in cloaked as diplomacy. But Traoré stood firm. He ordered military protection around the oil site. He made it clear, no Western company would get near it. Only African alliances or trusted nations outside the old colonial sphere would be allowed to take part. In Paris, outrage. In New York, panic. But across Africa, celebration. From Mali to Guinea, Niger to Congo, people saw more than a leader, they saw a symbol. A man who refused to kneel. A man who said what many leaders were too afraid to. Because this wasn't just about energy. It was about dignity. It was about centuries of theft, masked as trade. It was about a continent finally saying, no more. And in that moment, with dust swirling around his boots and the sun blazing above him, Captain Ibrahim Traoré wasn't just protecting oil. He was protecting a future. A voice. A revolution. And his words, fierce, raw, unforgettable, still echo, over my dead body. The oil has been discovered. But more importantly, Africa has awakened.